What's going on, guys? What would Vinny do? I'm going to start out thanking last week's guest, Renee Hill, uh, the Queen of the Bronx. Great episode, very interesting stuff. So I'm starting to realize I've had a lot of attorneys on, and that's kind of interesting to me. But it's been good. And I want to, speaking of attorneys, I want to give a shout out to my niece Valerie Casali, who just became an attorney. Well, now it's been a while, but it feels like it. I guess when you become a lawyer, it always feels like that, right? But we're all proud of her, and she helped me to get a couple of guests on, Mr. Murray Richmond, Miss Renee Hill, and I want to thank her for that. And I just want to give her a shout out because it's amazing that she became a lawyer, and we're all proud of her. And hopefully, I'm going to get you some real estate business in the future. But shout out to my niece. Amazing accomplishment, and hopefully we'll have her on too, and that'll be another lawyer we'll have on. She'll talk about her journey because, it's a great story, and just wanted to give her a shout. So, what I'm going to talk about this week is what I'm going to touch on is about having a team around you of the right people and putting them in the right places. So, to really help you get to take things to the next level, I feel like that's an important part of it. So when real estate agents talk about teams, they usually mean admin, buyer agents, or executive assistant. You can have people on your team who solely make phone calls, prospecting. You can have showing agents. So there's a number of ways you can structure it. The only one thing that I know for sure is you have to put the right people in the right positions. Your job as the leader is to figure out which pieces go where and to know if the piece actually fits in at all, And you have to also be able to go out and find new pieces sometimes. And I've been doing the team concept now for over 8 years. I can honestly say I'm still figuring things out. I probably started a little prematurely when I took it on to go from being a solo agent to the Ferrante sales team, but mine was more out of necessity because I was working another job at the time. I needed to have someone to kind of pick up the slack if I was going to take the real estate to the next level while I was working another job. And so that's why the team concept was very appealing to me from the beginning. Most agents, when they start out, they usually bring on a buyer agent first. And that's really not the right order of operations. So the first person you should hire should be either an admin or executive assistant who can kind of take the things off of your plate, or who will take the things off your plate if it's the right person, and then you can focus on the other stuff that you should be doing as a salesperson. So you're going to bring on somebody, they're going to handle the stuff that you're really not good at, and if you pick the right person, he or she should be good at that stuff, and it frees you up to do the stuff you are good at, which is lead generation, listing appointments, negotiating with buyers. As they like to say, the heavy lifting. But for most salespeople, that stuff comes naturally, so it doesn't feel like heavy lifting. And I'm sure the admin or the executive assistant feels the same way about their task that they're doing. Like, again, that's putting the right people to perform the right task, right? Hiring people who have the skill set for the position you're looking to hire for. I got to kind of do a sports analogy like I always do, so I'm going to bring sports in there some way. So I kind of think about Pat Riley when he was the coach of the Lakers, when I was a big Celtic fan. They would play the Lakers in the championship, and it was Magic, and it was Worthy, and it was Michael Cooper, and Byron Scott, and these guys were called Showtime, and they were fast. They would fast break, and they would put on a show, and that's why it was called Showtime. And Pat Riley coached them that way to push the ball and fast break, and they were very good at it, and they were very successful, and they won championships doing it that way. So later on in his career, he ended up coaching the New York Knicks, and it was very different. He had different players. He had Pat Ewing, he had Oakley, he had Mason, Starks. These guys were much more physical guys, and he slowed it down. He changed the whole game, and they played the game more physical in the half court, and he was successful with them. Not as successful as with the Lakers, but there was somebody like Michael Jordan around at that time, which caused a little problems for everybody. But my point is, he kind of used the pieces he had. If you tried to make the Knicks Showtime, it wasn't going to work, you know. And if you tried to make the Lakers more physical, which the Celtics kind of did, and they kind of beat them, they slowed it down, and they got physical with them, and they took them out of their game. So you want to stay in your game and put the pieces where they fit. And sometimes people, and as a leader, that's the tricky part about it, because people will tell you certain things. I remember I had someone on my team, and they were excited to make phone calls, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna have someone they're looking forward to making phone calls. This is gonna be good. Time came to make the phone calls. They weren't very good at making phone calls, and they weren't getting many appointments. So it's your job as a leader to understand, even though they were looking forward to it, and they said they wanted to do that, and they thought they were going to excel at it. It didn't work out that way. So that's your job to kind of see where the pieces fit and put the pieces in the right place. So thinking about it, it's actually harder as a team leader, because you actually have to find the pieces too. A coach, at least he has like a general manager. There's like an order, and the general manager finds the players, and you got to do all of the things as a team leader. And I always find that funny when people talk about realtors or realtor teams, and if there's a team and they make a certain amount of money, and they say, oh, it's not that big a deal, they have 8 people, that's why they make so much money. But to me, to have 8 people and to have it running smooth and at a high level and doing a lot of business is an accomplishment. And it's easier said than done, you know. And to run a successful real estate team is a lot harder than people think it is. It takes a lot, trust me. I've been there. I've had a lot of people. I've had a little people, like a small amount of people, and it's not an easy thing. And you have to get good at it. It takes time, and I give a lot of credit to agents that do it and have it running smooth. I also give a lot of credit to high-performing agents doing it all on their own, and they're both highly commendable. So for me, the team, it's just, for me, I've always felt like with a team I could take it further, and just having people around you who support you. And when I talk about teams, it goes further than just your buyer agent and your admin. It can be a lender that you're in business, that you do a lot of business with. It could be a friend who's a plumber or an electrician that you're getting him business, and as he's out and about, he's looking out for you, getting you business. It could be an attorney. Like I said, my niece is an attorney now. I'm gonna try my best to get her business, and hopefully she'll do the same for me. She has been doing the same for me, and that's when you start to have these relationships that build. That's when the business starts to take off. As your relationships develop and blossom, so does the business. I spoke last week about patience, and again, it's going to come into play here. Relationships take time in business as well. You build that trust. That people in sports, they call it chemistry, right? It's similar in business. You want to work with like-minded business people with the same work ethic as you. You want to be able to vent some days, bounce stuff off people. As most salespeople will tell you, they love it, and I do as well, and I say it all the time. But there's going to be days where you're going to get your ass handed to you, and you're going to need to vent. Sometimes you don't want to bring it home. Sometimes it's better to discuss with people who understand what you're going through, and that's what I mean by team. It's not just the immediate people working with you. It extends further out, and the further it extends, and everybody's got the same mission, the more successful you are, and the easier it becomes. Honestly, Gary Vee, who I mention all the time, one of my people I look for inspiration. He calls it your forever team. And that's what I'm building right now. I've gotten really good at being patient and playing the long game. I'm not sure when it happened, but I definitely have a lot more clarity on things. Maybe as you get older, maybe that's what happens. It's happening for me. A few people have been asking me about a few of the listeners, I mentioned about doing some investments in Houston, and I'm gonna talk about it once I get it going. I promise. I'm just very superstitious. So I'm buying some stuff. I have a great friend out there. He's definitely part of my forever team. He's one of my longest friends I grew up with. He's out in Houston. I've had him on the show with my boy Pete Newman, and he's helping me out. And once stuff gets going, I promise I'm gonna discuss it. Like I said, I just want it to be done. I don't want to jinx things. I'll definitely speak on it and how it's going. And the funny thing is, I got into real estate to invest. And if you could believe it, 15 years later, I'm just ready now to really start. So think about that for a second, right? You'd think I'd be upset, or I would have gave up and said, oh, this is crazy, it's taking too long. 15 years. But you know what? I'm actually more excited that it took this long and it's happening now. And I got the people in place, I got the pieces in place, and I kept grinding and I hung in there, and now I'm going to start making moves. I wasn't ready, and that's fine, but the pieces are here now, and now it's on, and now it's going to be fun, and it's going to be sweet. It's going to be the road was so long to get here that it's going to be gratifying. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to help the people who help me, and that's what we're going to start doing, and we're going to start making big moves, and I'll let you know. Okay, so what else? My guest next week, former champ Aaron Davis. I'm excited about that. Now we got a few boxers on. We had some lawyers. We got some boxers. So we're mixing it up. So, but another great. He was a former champ. I still remember when he beat Mark Breland. I was watching it. Big upset. Mark Breland was obviously was the champ, and he had a lot of hype behind. Not hype. He was big. And Aaron was able to beat him. I'm having champs. Before I go, I want to give a shout to the Toronto Raptors. They beat the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors were obviously depleted with injuries, but that's not to no fault of the Toronto Raptors. All you can do is beat who's in front of you, and that's what they did. I had more respect for the Warriors during this series than when they actually won, when they had the stacked team the 2 years in a row. This year, they actually, to me, the way they fought, while they were going through all these injuries with Clay out and KD out, they fought like champions, and they didn't give anything up, and you like to see that. Toronto had to take it. Toronto did take it. Congratulations to Kawhi Leonard and Toronto Raptors. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. What would Vinny do? Like our page, any questions, and tune in next week.